All right, all aboard the virtualization journey. Well, listen, customers are looking for a single platform that can run their AI workloads, their virtualized workloads, and their container workloads. And Everpure and Red Hat have been partnering for years to deliver that consolidated platform. So I'm very excited that I'm joined by two very special guests today. I've got Eric Graybill from CSX. Now, Eric brings decades of experience navigating multiple waves of infrastructure transformation, and he continues to evolve the platform at CSX to adapt to what's next. I'm also very pleased to have Joel Jackson here with me on stage. Joel from Red Hat brings a very broad market perspective. He works with a lot of organizations across a lot of industries as they make key infrastructure decisions. So I want to start with Eric here. Eric, can you tell us a little bit about your modernization journey and how you're thinking about it?
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about CSX's story. So we already are on our modernization journey where we've migrated about 80% of our applications onto Kubernetes OpenShift specifically, so containers. And those applications run both in the cloud and on our on-premise in our own data centers. So as we look to virtualization, I said 80% are moved to containers, so we have 20% left running on legacy VMs. So as we looked, our priority was simplification and flexibility. And we had that experience, over 10 years of experience with OpenShift. So we didn't want to have disconnected stacks to manage. We didn't want to have to retrain our staff and a whole new pane of glass, a whole new application. So one operating model across VMs and containers really just made sense. We also wanted a practical transition path that we didn't have to big bang move everything at one time. We have moved successfully quite a bit of it, but at our own pace, we can move those remaining 20% onto the OpenShift platform. And then we have, if we ever need a mix of between cloud and on-prem, we can, that flexibility, as well as the reliability that we've come to know from OpenShift.
That's a broad ecosystem that you operate across. You know, we all understand trains. They're very easy to get. We see them all the time. But we don't really have a good understanding of what it takes to keep those trains running. Can you tell us a little about the workloads that you actually run behind the scenes to keep them going?
Sure. Yeah, we support more than 400 applications, and they're things that you might not be thinking about. They're mission-critical applications. So I'll give you an example of our Tier 0 workload. Something we call PTC, Positive Train Control. And it's not just us that call that, that's a federal requirement. But things like 20,000 sensors that are all along every track that we have that are measuring sound, vibration, and heat, temperature off of bearings and axles off of the train. And PTC ensures the safety of where we're running, that if something goes wrong, it starts to heat up, it's signifying a problem, we might have a derailment, or even if we just stop getting data from those sensors, the brakes are literally applied to the train. That's the safest thing that we can do. So it really comes down to that it is critical that our infrastructure, that where we're hosting our applications, are resilient and reliable. That's why a resilient data architecture is central, meaning that we have to have something that's enterprise ready like Red Hat OpenShift, and so it was just the logical next step to do our virtualization there as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Joel, let me turn this to you a little bit. What are you seeing more broadly in the enterprise? Are you seeing this desire to run all these different types of workloads on one platform?
Yeah, I think what Eric said is, well, first of all, thank you for having us here. It's a wonderful partnership with you guys, and we're very honored to be here with you. But what Eric described, I don't think it's unique. It's a new blueprint for our customer base, and I think most of enterprise IT. They have this environment that's fragmented, like you said. Cost of running them continues to rise, and that's why we want to give them this architectural freedom across a hybrid cloud environment, and that's become the priority for a lot of our customer base.
So that kind of covers the compute layer of things, like my applications that are jumping, but what about the data side of things?
Yeah, Red Hat, we try to meet customers where they are. I think, Eric, you already were an OpenShift customer. They want to run VMs natively on the OpenShift platform. They got VMs and containers, and now AI applications landing on those. So yeah, it gives them a low friction, high velocity starting point. And now you said on the data side, yeah, the data layer. If your data is still trapped in a legacy silo, your modernization strategy will certainly grind to a slowdown or a halt. So that's why the relationship that we have with you guys in Portworx is just so it's so critical. So Portworx delivers the data services needed to keep those applications protected, and we give you an OpenShift platform that's consistent across those applications. So when you're running tier 0 applications, like Eric said, workloads, it can stop operations immediately if they, and we have a long history with you on PTC. But look, you need more than basic storage, right? You need a unified data platform that can span infrastructure, eliminate these silos, and ensure applications stay protected. Our joint solution together, especially with a single pane of glass with Portworx directly integrated into the OpenShift console, huge for us. And I think our customers both love that joint proposition together.
Yeah, we just released that integration, actually announced at Red Hat Summit. So that sounds really good, Joel, but there's a lot of moving parts here. How do enterprises get started down this journey?
Well, we try to make it simple. This is not a simple, we try to make it simple, but if you're moving a massive fleet of applications with a lean team, like Eric said, you need a predictable, repeatable migration plan, and that's exactly what Red Hat and Portworx are trying to build, and we have built with some very key customers. Resources for you, we have the migration toolkit for virtualization, we have joint reference architectures, hands-on labs, and we have consulting experience when customers need more guidance.
Thanks for that. Sounds like a lot of resources there. Eric, let's look at how you made this decision. What are the considerations that you put in place? How did you decide to move to OpenShift and Portworx?
Yeah, so we really had, it was natural for us to choose OpenShift because we had so much of our applications running on there already. But the difference between running containerized OpenShift and VMs on OpenShift, data is really the key there.
Yeah.
It might be a nice to have a persistent volume to offer to an application for containerized, but it's an absolute requirement for a VM. That is the VM itself. So we did a POC with Portworx and with Red Hat, and they walked us through the procedure. We tested a couple different scenarios, and that was really important. And I will say that the decision to go with Portworx and OpenShift for running the VM was because from basic running local disk with ODF compared to running Portworx and Pure as our backend storage was a 10x difference. I mean, so we tested all of those different types of creating VMs, migrating VMs from a legacy platform, and migrating VMs for HA within the cluster or cross-cluster. But really the difference for us was to bring our expertise and our experience. We have a lean team. We only have 2 full-time employees working on OpenShift, and we're able to do that because, like we said, now that's in the console, we can basically, once it's set up, it manages itself. We can add nodes, we can move things around, and we don't have to be storage experts. I'm not the storage expert, I'm the Kubernetes guy.
It's amazing that you accomplished all that with just 2 team members as well. I think that's pretty incredible.
For sure.
Well, listen, we're just about out of time here. So to wrap up, if I can just get one sentence from each of you, I'm going to start with you, Eric. What piece of advice do you have to this room full of IT experts of what they should do to get started or think about as they're think about getting started on this journey?
Yeah, I would highly recommend the consulting service that when we bought our licensing of Portworx, they offered like a white glove consulting service, and it really went above and beyond our expectations. They really know the questions to ask that you don't even know to ask yourself of what you're going to be using the environment for, the types of VM workloads, all of those things so that you're not painting yourself into a corner, you're designing it from day one. So I highly recommend that consulting service that they offer.
Sounds like good advice. Joel, any words from you?
Yeah, I think it's the same theme, right? Start with a platform and a data strategy that brings VMs, containers, and now AI workloads together from day one, so you can focus on what comes next. It's a very agile methodology that we try to bring to the customer base.
Well, that's fantastic, guys. Sounds like you guys are set up for success. I want to thank you very much for joining us here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.